what we wanted to bring up today, maybe the big hairy gorilla in the room, is that we've been having some issues with testnet, and we're aware of that. So thinking about ways that we can maybe improve maintenance there. So certainly want to, we definitely understand the impact. More than a few times now, we've had some builders that have gotten blocked just trying to get their stuff tested, which is obviously important. And we have been working off of a contract with a single team, but I think as we sort of re-envision what everything needs to sort of look like going forward, we're trying to eliminate single points of failure everywhere, right? So, and you're seeing that with a lot of the V1 news, a lot of the news around the second gateway from Nodes. We've got just kind of a lot going on everywhere, and that's always been, focus of the foundation, and I certainly am carrying that torch as well. So, when we see things all of our the entire reliance on a single team might be struggling a little bit, keeping nodes up, et cetera, et cetera. My gut instinct is to let's decentralize that a little bit if we can. So I don't know if we've got the full audience that can weigh in on that here today. Looks like pretty lightweight, and I will note this for Zach, maybe this time of day is not the ideal time. We got better turnout last time, but definitely wanted to throw out that is sort of maybe a topic for today, if anybody's got any ideas. Happy to hear them. You can't talk, obviously, just stuff in the chat, and I will call stuff out.
Yeah,
Harry. Harry's saying having a test net run by one single team kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah, and I feel other places that I have been where we have had successful test nets, it's always been a family affair. Polygon's Mumbai, for example, was the test net for POS mainnet, and I believe we had somewhere area of 4 to 6 community members running nodes there, and that way, on the off chance that a team was having a problem with their node, etc., you were always able to sort of get access to things. So we definitely don't want to create single points of failure places. So I think it does make sense for us to start thinking about how we might try to decentralize the testnet going forward, and that wouldn't just be applicable to a V0 testnet, but anything that we're going to do going forward with the new roll-up build on Celestia Rollkit. If we do a testnet there, obviously we would want the same centralization as well. Obviously, we don't need the huge number of actors, but more than one definitely makes sense. Anyway, but I'm open. We're obviously, this is a community call, so if you guys have different ideas or different feedback related to that, now would be the time to register it. I believe, correct me if I'm
just.
Oh, sorry. Go. Sorry, Ben, I didn't mean to talk over you. You started to. Yeah.
I thought I might have been talking over someone too, so sorry about that. I think and just sort of wanting to build out the picture on this and looking at who's on the call. So don't want to put you on the spot, Ramiro, but Yeah, I think you've sort of been having some challenges just in the last little while around testnet as well. So probably the first thing I just wanted to check is it resolved on your side now for you to be able to do everything you need to do, or are you still feeling somewhat blocked by it?
Hi. No, our problem was more with the kinds of stuff that you see in testnet, like people with huge balances that make no sense and stuff like that. But we were able to manage that, not like we wanted to do it, but we should have the site run with testnet very soon. So we were able to fix that. But there are things that it should not exist in like an int 128 bits for the balance of an account. It makes no economical sense in the data side, not in the access to the testnet itself.
Okay. Okay, cool. And then, yeah, Matteo, I'm sort of thinking, I'm wondering, like, in terms of sort of federating the test net a little bit more, how you're thinking about how we would sort of move in that direction. Is it something that we'd sort of ask people to participate in, or is it something where, you'd be looking to sort of find a certain subset of sort of node providers in our space? Have you put much thought into that already, or how are you seeing that play out?
Yeah, so this is definitely not a conversation where we're looking to pick on the current team that is keeping testnet alive, right? So the thought was really more about how do we get them some help and a little bit more redundancy, so that in the event that they are having some issues with a node, or they need to do some maintenance on their own, that the testnet is always available, right? So the way I've been really thinking about this is like, and I talked a little bit with Jack about it, but what can we do from the foundation side to either, I believe right now we're paying like a monthly retainer fee to be able to them. So it would be about like, maybe perhaps we could split that between two teams, maybe change the math a little bit to incent like other teams to join. Again, it's a test net. It doesn't need to be full as redundant as. Clearly, some redundancy would be helpful to the builder community. So, and again, like open to other ideas on how we might do it. What we definitely don't want to do is just take it off one team and hand it to another. I think that would be, we wouldn't really be solving for anything there. We would just be moving the single point of failure to another team, right? So this is really more about thinking about how do we get 2-3 teams involved. The burden is less on any one single team, and that it's shared across like a subset. And then looking for volunteers essentially.
Okay, nice. I thought that's what you had in mind, and I think from my side that makes a lot of sense. I can work with you to sort of figure out and how we get some volunteers to participate, because I think there's probably a few people in our community that will be interested in putting their hand up for supporting on this.
Cool. Okay. taking my own notes. Cool. So again, like, we had pretty, let's see, might be worth using the node runners call outs for volunteers. Yeah, good idea, Harry. I like it. Cool. We can definitely do that. Yep. Beyond that, that was really the sort of number one agenda item for the call today. So we had talked last week about potentially like reviewing other proposals and things. On the forum, there are a few snapshot votes that are right now. Just wanted to call those out if you haven't been aware or know that they're there. One is related to PIP 31, which is the proposal by the coder team, the per-chain relays, token multiplier, and the reward share. And the other is PEP 64, which was a proposal by the foundation to sort of, let's say, reward the team over at POKT News for their great work and just make that recurring. And and I see there's some votes underway, but just wanted to call those out. They're both pending at the moment, and PIP 31 ends in a day, and PEP 64 ends in about 14 hours. So if you haven't gotten a vote in there and you would like to, just calling that out so you get there. Few late joiners. I don't know if we want to rehash the discussion, but for the newbies that joined, we were talking a little bit about just thinking about ways that we could decentralize testnet a little bit more, and we'll be looking for some volunteers there, and we'll follow up with that.
Cool. Just one thing, because Shane, I see you've joined the call. I think that's was blocked, but one question we did ask with the testnet is, some ideas here about getting some more support around it, having a few other teams sort of working with NoFleet and others to sort of support testnet. But big question was just making sure that everyone is sort of currently unblocked by testnet. So Shane, not to put you on the spot, but are you all okay in terms of everything you need to do?
Yeah, I mean it's moving forward. It was stopped for several days and nothing was done about it. So that's what put us several days behind. But once it was moving, then we could do things because we were the bridge, and you have to have testnet for that. So so I guess what I'm not really sure about testnet is it still being paid for? Because my understanding was before, at least prior, it was being paid for maintenance. Is that not happening anymore? Or
That is happening. Yes, it is being paid for, and so we're trying to figure out from the foundation side what we need to do to eliminate the single point of failure that is having one team carry the weight of a maintenance contract, essentially. So, in a spirit of wanting to decentralize that, we'd like to get another team at minimum, and perhaps a third team involved, and then we will figure out what math makes sense. Maybe it's a split of the current reward. Maybe we have to tweak it a little bit so that it just makes financial sense for people. But definitely would like to get at least one more team involved. And again, we don't want a handover. We want to bring multiple teams in to run nodes here, so we have some redundancy and some failover. We should never be in a situation where got, a 24 to 72 hour blackout window unless unless it was planned. So yeah, we want to get there, and we're taking inspiration from other projects. And clearly, there's always multiple teams involved, even on testnets and things, and you don't have this kind of they don't have the same SLAs obviously as a mainnet, but they're up, right? And the problem I see right now is just the single point of failure. So if we can help with that, we're motivated to do that.
Yeah, well, I would. Important thing would just be to communicate what or maybe even figure out prior to take on responsibilities that other people are getting paid for. That just I have a hard time seeing who really wants to volunteer for that. So I would establish what it would look like and just announce, hey, this is if you work with Node Fleet in this, to monitor testnet, because I think going the other way where out kind of later, I don't know. I think people would just be more interested if they know what they're getting into.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the intention. We didn't expect that we would have one team doing it for money and other teams doing it for free. So it's really about if the community feels like, yes, this would be helpful to have multiple teams involved, then we will go figure out the math, and then we will make that announcement and essentially put out like a call for some additional teams to join. But that would be obviously paid. Like, we don't want anybody to lose money running testnet nodes. So for sure.
Cool. Proper way to go about it. Have it kind of upfront. People know what what the expectations are, and then what the reimbursement is for time. Which, to be fair, I don't know. Like, I know that. Yeah, I don't know. It was never even communicated from Node Fleet what the actual issue was, or what the issue was. That us specifically, we helped them fix it because they didn't have a backup of the testnet data. So we had to provide them a backup of the testnet data moving again. But part of this is just not communicating what the issue was. So if we knew what the issue was or something, because I have a hard time understanding why testnet would just stop, but mainnet doesn't. A number of nodes or what is it? So they've been running testnet the longest. So I think if there was some kind of communication there, weak spots of our testnet are, that would also make it easier for people to join, because there's not a knowledge silo that people are getting into. It's open on what the issues are or what's happened. So just
That's good feedback, Shane. Appreciate it.
One thing I'm sort of thinking about as well, Matteo, just like in terms of the nature of this call, I think actually having like the other V0 teams here and participating as a bit of a be something we want to lean into as well. And obviously that's going to involve coordinating a few more people and finding a time that works. But like it would be a lot easier if Node Fleet were here, if Liquify were here, if Coda were here, which maybe doesn't feel the same because there's sort of like already this node runners. I see this as having a very different sort of intention than that one, which is maybe something we can clarify.
Yeah, I will work with who's been helping schedule this, and also, like I said, maybe the timing of this one. We moved it from a call that happened about 6 hours later. Maybe it's not working for some people.
Yeah.
I believe one of the teams in question is West Coast US, and this might be not a great time for them. So, yeah. Yep. So we'll look at that. That idea, distribute the load to one provider per region, 3 provider. Yeah, that's good feedback. Cool. Okay. We can keep this topic going as more and more people arrive, or if anybody has anything else that they would like to bring up. If not, that was the main agenda item for today. Again, like I said, called out the votes that are happening, so definitely take a look. If you have not voted, there are 2 snapshots up and active that will expire in the next 14 and 24 hours, respectively, somewhere in that range. So please take a look. And if nobody has anything else, Shane, you're coming off mute, so maybe you do.
Yeah. Last call, we had talked about things, how to, I guess, V0 requests. And so I had made one regarding around making an upgrade for max chains, so that can actually be enforced on the network. Just wanted to follow up with that. And you said that Daniel was able to, I guess, take a look at it or something like that. So I just wanted to kind of follow up since that was originated in this call.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So if anyone was not, here we go. Let's move over to this tab. If anybody was not here last week, Shane brought up this item that I turned into a draft ticket on the V0 backlog. And yes, took a look. As you're all probably aware, things related to the role kit pivot and V1 and topics that we're going to get into on the community call later this week have taken priority for the engineering team. But noted, and this is essentially what I will do, is like anything that comes out of this call that looks like a feature, an upgrade, thinking about maybe a parameter check or change that would be governance related, actually. And I think like what we suggested is that we wouldn't we'll save governance things for other forums. But Shane brought up the nuance here that this isn't really so much about the parameter itself. It's more about checking the parameter at session start. So it's there, and this is what I'll do. I'll put the backlog as drafts and make sure that the engineering team is aware and that they can, once we start building out roadmaps for V1, things like that, we're obviously paying attention to what's going on this roadmap as well. And if this is something we're like, oh, maybe we can just bring this over and use it as in V1, then we will. But yeah, upgrade right now is pending. I should set the expectation that stuff that pops up during these calls, my goal is just to dock them and make sure that they're not forgotten. That doesn't necessarily mean that they will be worked on immediately or priority items for the team, but I don't want to lose anything that comes out of this. So that was my intention, and that's how I'll do it, as I will add them to the board.
I have a comment on the same. Since we have changed and now we are going to be a role key on Celeste, Yeah. I think if if the objectives for the Shannon update have changed, like what is going to be delivered with Shannon update have changed because we have a really extensive utility layer that should. I mean, the totality of the Shannon update is quite large, and I don't know if everything is going to be launched in the first stage of the Shannon update. So if we are not doing full V1 when the Shannon update is released on Q1 next year, I think it is worth to take a look into reducing the number of chains and trying to push this back into V0 in Morse, because I'm not clear right now if we are moving with the same objectives for the Shannon update. So if we are not going to deliver a whole bunch of features, I really don't know how it is right now because there have been so many changes. So keep in mind that if you are going to change what is going to be delivered, maybe we can start adding the single chain parameters as Shane suggested right now and do not wait until Shannon. So I just wanted to make sure that you discuss that on the terms of what's going to be delivered in V1.
Yep. Totally. We owe you now an update to the V1 roadmap. What I can say is that the focus will be on what the original V1 spec utility module and making sure that we have full parity. And then we are looking at some of the additional features that we will try to get in. That is the feedback from Olshansky and the team. So we're not like completely abandoning sort of the let's add some new features to the first cut. There's some significant changes kind of going on under the hood, but I mean the upside obviously is that we don't have to worry about some things in the same way that we needed to worry about them before because we're outsourcing some stuff to Celestia essentially. So we're working on that roadmap, and we should be able to get that shared out pretty soon. Yeah. I hear you. Ramiro, if I can follow up question back to you though, was there anything specific about the current path that we were on that stands out as things that were high priority for you guys that you would like to make sure are there? Ultimately at the end of the day, you all and your feedback influences the priority of the roadmap, right? So if there's something that needs to be there because you've already started work, let's make sure that doesn't get dropped on the floor, that it's going to fast follow. So I would want to understand that if there are some new things that were promised and you just want to make sure that they're going to get in.
No. Actually, what we want from V1 is the watchers and all the complex things in the utility layer. So we know that we have to wait for that. So I think that we don't have any priority right now. We only like what Scoder is doing with the modulation of the chain of the chain rewards. Like we think that that's really interesting, but Shane also has the point that we will need to also add balance to the chain. So what right now I'm thinking is if P1 is not going to be like we thought it was going to be, maybe we should start doing something right now and maybe bundle all the coders changes that we want with the chains reduction that we also want. But we were like thinking in another landscape for V1. So it's not something that is going to block us right now directly because we are patient, or we have at least a little patient. and we actually need the full utility layer of V1 to be happy. So I think we should let you build, but also make sure that if we can get something to work in V0 like this year or in the next consensus change, it would be great. But sorry, I don't have any hard requirements for you guys. So just build.
Thank you. Yeah, we're all very interested in quality of service improvements. Watchers are a hot topic. It's definitely on radar, and we are rethinking some pieces. Yeah, so Olshansky's, he's noodling it. Watcher specifically as an actor available when we get to the roll-up testnet will likely not be there, but it is the next highest priority thing to add. Like we know that all of the features related to like increased quality of service and things like that will be the things that we will try to fast follow with once we get to essentially parity on the new setup, on the new stack. In addition to that, I believe the team will try to stretch to do something like multiple gateways and things like that. So we're that will hopefully be there. But that's just top of my mind right now. And like I said, we know we owe you guys a full update on the roadmap and post announcement, and we're working on that actively within the next week or two. We should have it.
Great, thanks.
Meanwhile, team is like kicking some kicking some butt on the POC that they're standing up. So Harry here on the team, yeah, they've been doing some pretty great work already, making some great progress. So yeah, it's full speed ahead. It's looking good.
So one area that I wanted to bring up, which has to do with V0 upgrades. I know that I've in like the comments with Coder's proposal, there have been comments about oh well, when Gandalf is approved by the DAO, then we can look at then there could potentially be then things can move forward with Gandalf or with a proposal. What I wanted to kind of clear up, because I've gotten a number of messages from people asking, well, why haven't you put Gandalf up for a vote? And I guess this is where I'm not entirely sure where the protocol team, what's kind of the proper process. And I wanted to clarify this because wouldn't something like addressing some of these issues that Romero's brought up and Coder is bringing up in his proposal, doesn't that require resources from the V0 team? Because obviously this is now going to be a release, right? If it passes, I guess what I haven't been entirely sure about, and especially with the continuing forum, is are we supposed to put stuff up for a vote that we want to see, and then the protocol team is then like obliged to just do it without any feedback from them? That's obviously not the path I've been trying to take or want to take. So that's why I wanted to kind of ask that, because there seems to be two different opinions in the community. There's either put it up to vote, and then the protocol team essentially do it, or there's the like in putting it. So wanted to ask about that as well.
these other areas that we're bringing up. These are all things that we should bring to the DAO and vote on it. And then the protocol team is essentially to make it, become a priority or something.
And you were breaking up a little bit. I don't know if you can hear me clearly, but I think a lot of people were thumbs upping on the over on the chat. But I think what I heard is that as part of the coder vote, they gave a nod to Gandalf, and now you're asking if and how that have potentially gone through some kind of voting. I thought that we kind of agreed last week we weren't going to get into like governance stuff here, and I also think they walked that back a little bit further down in the comments. I'm not.
Yeah, sorry. Is it a little clearer right now? Is my talking clearer right now?
Yes, you are. Yes, much.
Oh,
clearer.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. No. This isn't a. This wasn't a question regarding like governance in terms of should we do something or should we not do something. This is again. I'm asking a question about wanting strict clarity on what is the process with a V0 upgrade. I think that's what would be great to answer from PNF, like a direct process of, for a V0 upgrade, this is what you do, because there's different opinions on what you do. The opinion, there's one opinion that you put up a proposal, and then whatever that proposal is, if it passes, then the protocol team basically has to do it, or they're supposed to do it. So it's a way of, so anyone who, even if they're non-technical, even if they don't have the solution or anything, they say, hey, I would like to add this. This should be added to V0 because XYZ, put it up there. If it gets voted and approved, then, oh, okay, well, now the protocol team needs to divert, resources to that. That there is, like, I've been getting DMs from people asking, why don't you put Gandalf up for a vote? And that's what I'm asking is, could there be specific clarity, like on what a V0 upgrade, what the path is? Do you first reach out to protocol team, or do you first put it up to a vote? If you put something up to a vote and it passes, does that mean then the protocol team basically has to add it to their roadmap? Because right now, with kind of where we're at with Coder, we have two different proposal types. I haven't put mine up to vote because there's still things to address, while their proposal, he's putting it up with several things to address, but we haven't heard either or from the protocol team specifically, like, yes, this is good for it, like this is something we can take onto our plate, this is not something we can take onto our plate. We haven't heard anything, so I don't know what the process is. That's what I wanted to ask for clarity on, especially with Ramiro talking about other things that could potentially be good to do in V0. It'd be great to have an actual path, like any protocol upgrade goes through XYZ, and this could even scale into V0 or the Shannon upgrade as well.
Yeah, no, that's good feedback. I don't know if someone that's been around the foundation long enough has some feedback on that, but if the general consensus is that the path to getting upgrades in is unclear, then yes, that is definitely something I can bring back to the next foundation call. Make sure we should clarify it moving forward. I think Ben agrees. So yes, good point, and noted, and we will bring that up. And yep, I will get you. We'll get you feedback on that.
Yeah, and mostly this is just for when new upgrades have to come about. Because if we start just having anyone can put up a proposal for an upgrade, and then it just kind of has to be done, or it's supposed to be done by the protocol team, and the protocol team doesn't have a say in it, that just doesn't seem like the right process. And at least if there has been communication on like the protocol team working with Coder, it hasn't been public. So I have no idea what the protocol team thinks about that proposal or anything. So
yeah, I think
that's
if I could summarize, what I feel like you're pointing out is that technical teams that can pull their own PRs are at an advantage over teams that cannot, because of that expectation that anyone should be able to have be able to put in a proposal for a feature, but they may not have the technical chops to implement it, and therefore would need assistance from the protocol team or other community members who could implement the feature. And I think
the other side to that, I just want to clarify, the other side of that is without any involvement of the protocol team in the process with kind of how it is right now, that also means that whoever has the technical chops can just do whatever they want to the network as long as they get a vote. And that's where I'm not sure, is that where we're at? Is it, could someone with the technical chops just keep putting in proposals and keep making changes, and they can almost make the network in their own image, whatever they want it to be in, as long as obviously they do get the Gal vote. So that's what I'm trying to balance out, because all of this, I believe, does seem to be a part of testing. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, the process.
Yeah, on that one, I understand what you're saying. I think, you can't do that because you have to go through governance. So whilst I understand your point, it's a little bit tenuous because, we have a governance process. To this other point, I think what I would actually say, and this is a little bit of the challenging thing around ours often is really is about social norming on this sort of stuff. And essentially, I think the most important social norm is you can't make a proposal that is based on other people doing work without engaging with them. So we definitely have to clarify on, what is the process and how do we make that more clear and visible for everyone. But just a really clear expectation to set right now is anybody who is thinking about making some sort of protocol type proposal should be engaging with Matteo, should be articulating what that looks like, because at a bare minimum, the team that has to deliver the work needs to be involved in sort of scoping and speccing that out. That's the important thing I think that we take away right now, and then to come in short order is we'll actually clarify how you can get on that conveyor belt to make sure we do it going forward.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. That was great clarity. Appreciate it.
Oh, good stuff. Slow build, but we actually covered a lot of ground today. So Coder pulled the PR, protocol team still has to put time in to review that, and et cetera, for sure. Yes. All right, we're creeping up on time. Any other topics that we want to throw out there today? I definitely have some takeaways, both for bring to PNF and to make sure we're getting more updates out. Just want to back up, the genesis of this call really came out of Node Runner feedback, some other things that were happening in the community calls, and we decided to add this third call just to kind of talk a little more specifically around V0 proposals and things. I know we're only 2 in, but is this going in the right direction for people? Are we finding this valuable so far? I mean, like I said, we started a little slow today, but some great content actually got covered here. So that's good. Anything that we could be doing a little bit different to keep tweaking this. Like, I'm not, I'm a bit of a newbie to running these kind of calls on Discord here, so I appreciate everybody bearing with me as I ramp myself up. But yeah, they're great for me. I just hope that everyone's getting value out of it. Cool. We'll be back in a couple more weeks. We'll probably tweak the time again. And to Ben's point, we are going to maybe need to reach out a little more directly to some of our V0 maintenance teams and make sure that they've got some representation on the call here, because that'll also help a lot.
Nice one, man. Good call. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.